Hi, my name is Joel Garcia. I'm COO of TidalWave Interactive. And what we have is we basically have a Facebook application builder that generates BPM processes that runs in the cloud. So let's go ahead and get started. So what is TidalWave? TidalWave is a multi-tenant cloud-based BPM solution that enables corporations to do process online without consulting, training, or programming. TidalWave offers pre-packaged solutions with a customizable form start event to enable customers to brand their initial interaction with consumers. So why did we build TidalWave? There are tons of BPM vendors out there. There are tons of solutions. We built TidalWave because when we looked at the Facebook application space, what we saw is we saw simple forms. And we started to think to ourselves, what really needs to be done with social media is social media needs to do more than forms. It needs to have the capability to launch business processes. And so when we say business processes, we're talking about user tasks, we're talking about script tasks, we're talking about chaining complicated events together, enabling small and medium businesses to do business online using business process. So real quick on the slide, our main goal here is to reach out and bring BPM to the masses by leveraging social media. Okay, and so that's pretty much the presentation. What I'm going to do now is the demo. So what the demo is basically what we're going to do is we're going to build a customer service application for bpmNEXT. We're going to deploy it to a pseudo bpmNEXT page. And so this will be a live business process running on a bpmNEXT Facebook page that can be used for handling customer service requests today. So many of you are familiar with this. We have our own visual modeler, and this visual modeler enables you to build processes and deploy them to our multi-tenant AWS solution. The reality is that most people who are on Facebook aren't going to be able to use this. So at one point, we actually contemplated saying, download our studio tool, build out this process, et cetera, and obviously, it just wasn't going to work. So what we had to do was we had to come up with something new. And so what you'll see here is this is an actual customer service process with a form start event and some script tasks. And these script tasks are really, really simple. One is going to send an email to a customer. The other is a user's task, which is going to handle the customer service request. Now, if I'm a club, if I'm a hairstylist, if I'm running any sort of business online and I want to actually do business, I am never going to do this. So what we had to do is we built, for lack of a better word, our own application builder in HTML5 that runs off of TidalWave, enabling people to build canned solutions. So what I'm going to do right now is I'm going to build a customer service application for bpmNEXT. And so right now, in order to get to the application, you log in with Facebook. When you log in with Facebook, we actually create a BPM context underneath the covers for you. So this is all done on demand without any knowledge that there is a BPM under the covers. So I'd create a new app. So what I'm going to do here is we've got many different types of apps. In the Facebook world, a lot of people build apps to gather likes. They build apps to generate leads. But we do that as well. But what we're starting to do is we're starting to introduce more complicated processes. So what we're going to do is we're going to build the customer service application that I showed you the business process for, and we're going to build it online. So I'm going to build a customer service-based application, and we're going to call it, bpmNEXT Customer Service. And then, how can I help? And so we support a couple of different canned layouts that just come out of the box. One is what we call the one-column layout. Another is the two-column layout. And then we have a ribbon. And we also support different color schemes, et cetera, et cetera. So I'm going to build a two-column layout. And what I'm going to do initially is I'm going to brand it, right? So it's one thing to be able to build sort of a standard form that you slap up there. It's another thing to make it actually bpmNEXT. So what I'm going to do is I've already got the bpmNEXT image loaded, and you'll see a UFC fighter here because one of our clients is UFC. And so I'm going to take this, this nice image of an ocean, and then I'm going to go in and basically build the app dynamically. So I'm going to do a problem type. And so the types can be, you know, maybe there's a problem with my room. Maybe there's a problem with my phone. Or maybe I'm just upset that my room doesn't have a TV. And then I could conceivably take a screenshot with my phone or take a screenshot of something and upload it. So, all right, that's sort of self-explanatory. So I'm going to make these fields required. And then my name, email, and then phone. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to save the process. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to deploy it to a Facebook page that I've built that's called bpmNEXT. Okay, and so now what I've done is I have literally put a process up on the cloud and deployed it to Facebook. So when I go to my bpmNEXT page, what transpires is I've got a new Facebook application that people can navigate to actually do business online. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go to this page, and I'm going to fill out a request. Like maybe the request is, there's no hot water in my room. And so this is a problem that I have with the room. And then, since I've filled out this form before and filled out this application before, Facebook and TidalWave actually knows who you are. So, and that's one of the sort of tricky, sort of evil things about Facebook is that once you give up your credentials to Facebook, Facebook understands everything that you're doing. And if you make the appropriate API calls, you can grab that information. So what we are doing is we are literally populating a BPM context dynamically with Facebook users. So there's no connecting to an LDAP. There's no reaching out. The users are coming in dynamically to Facebook, building up our BPM context. All right, so now we've submitted the case. And so what transpires next is in our process, what you'll see we have next is an email gets sent out to the customer, which in this case was me, and an email gets sent out to the page owner. So right now it's all driven to the page owner. So in this particular situation, I am the owner of the page, which makes me the owner of the BPM context. Okay? And I've also filled out the form. So I'm going to get two emails. I'm going to get the email to the customer and the email to the page owner effectively saying that you just have a new support request. So here's my new support request. And this data, what you can do is you can either ask for the data to come from Facebook land via Facebook Graph API calls, or you can take the data that is entered into the form. So what I'm going to do here is this email, which is dynamically configured, comes to me, and I'm able to launch our portal-based application. So this portal-based application is a BPM execution environment, which can be used for standard BPM, or it can be used to handle service requests. So what we'll see here is, it's just standard BPM execution. So I'm going to go in, And okay, we've got a ticket, and this ticket just came in, and I can either respond to it, or I can send the person an email and go outside of process, or I can actually assign it to another person. I can assign it to another person who is within this BPM context who I have designated to handle support requests. So what we're doing is we're using Facebook and using that to drive process to actually get work done. So I'm just going to resolve this case as opposed to sending it to another person and entering portal with their credentials, et cetera, et cetera. All right, so now this particular case is resolved, and I'm able, another email gets fired out, which effectively says that I'm going to, let me see if that's the right email. That's not the right email yet. There it is. Basically, someone is coming over and will resolve my case. So what we've done here is we've taken a rather complicated customer service process, and we've basically taken the form start event, and we've enabled standard everyday users to go out and build their own. So they can build their own customer service app, they can build their own job requisition app, they can go out and they can build these processes without having any knowledge that there's a BPM under the covers routing these things and doing special actions, enabling them to do business online. So some of the other things that we provide are, not only do we have contests and guest lists are very popular for clubs. And so, people don't typically associate BPM with a club. But in fact, there are processes that are consumer-facing, such as a bottle service or a guest list, where all of a sudden, when you start to think about it, you can use process there. So one of the examples that we have, and this is humorous, is we've got this guy who runs a nightclub. And actually, we have more than one guy. We have a number of guys who run nightclubs. And what they do is they run this guest list-based application, and this guest list-based application is used to drive a lot of traffic to the club. And so what will transpire here is he will drive people to the guest list application, they will get on the guest list, and then when they show up, he will check them in with a mobile device, checking them in, enabling them to use or do a contest while they're at the physical location. So what we've done is we've taken BPM and some of the complexities behind BPM, we've hidden it, and then we've introduced it into the social media world to enable people who would never do BPM to actually start to adopt BPM and start to understand what's going on. Another business case that we've got for the guest list is certain vendors want their email lists automatically updated. So they'll want a script task that does a web service that goes out to their benchmark, adding them to their email list. And then we've also done some non-BPM based things, but really this is more around, this is more around, actually let me go over here. This is more around building customer profiles. Because so when all of a sudden you start to capture the data of those people who are submitting processes and using a unique identifier, and really this is sort of the brilliance of OAuth. What OAuth does is all of a sudden, with a Twitter ID, with a Facebook ID, with these unique IDs, now not only am I able to have these people start to launch processes, but now I'm able to use that ID to build custom profiles of my customers, which is huge. So now what we're able to do is, for a particular user, let's take this Alexandra Demarquis. She wants to be on the guest list on Tuesday night. Now what I'm able to do is I'm able to start to build a fan profile. So I will start to know how many times this person has come into the guest list and checked into the club based upon the number of processes that they've launched with that unique identifier, right? So she's been 4 times in the last 6 months. So, and then what we're hearing from some of our customers, and most of our customers have no idea that process is going on whatsoever, but what's starting to creep in is not only do they want the ability to launch different types of processes. Some of them want the ability to do payment. So we've got PayPal and we've got Authorize.net. But we're also hearing is they want the ability to re-promote. So effectively, if I'm on the guest list and I sign up for the guest list, then I want to be able to email them back out without pushing the information into constant contact, without doing these different things, and hence creating sort of a hybrid of processes where you've got sort of the guest list process, and then you may have an email campaign, and then launching them into a contest or into a bottle service-based application. So that is effectively what we do. So TidalWave is predominantly focusing on the social angle, but we also have your standard BPM that enables you to deploy processes to a multi-tenant cloud-based BPM that runs on Amazon.